Hello Golf Monthly viewers, Joel here again and welcome along here today. We are at Royal Mid Surrey Golf Club in London, where today I'm being fitted for a set of TaylorMade P760 irons. Now, what do we know about these irons at the moment? Well, they replace the P750 and the P770. Obviously, they're both being very small cavity back irons, whereas these P760 irons are slightly different. They're much more progressive. You've got hollow long irons, so 3 to 7 iron are hollow and they're filled with speed foam, which is obviously something we saw in the P790s to give golfers a little bit more distance, better feel and improved forgiveness as well. You probably saw the social media hoo-ha about the irons with various TaylorMade Tour pros launching them across their different platforms. So you probably know a little bit about these irons, but let's dive a bit deeper into what they're all about and what they're going to offer golfers through a custom fitting down on the range. So, should we get started?
P760 is the sleeker, faster, prettier version of P770, if you like. A little bit smaller, a little bit keener on the eye, but has all of the technology which made P790 so successful. In the longer irons, we now have a hollow construction, which we didn't have in P770. That construction is then backfilled with our revolutionary speed foam. A brilliant mechanism for maintaining ball speed on off-center strikes, for managing sound and feel, characteristics which I guess all golfers prefer, but the better golfer, which this club is really targeted at and aimed at, are going to see the benefits of it. Probably looking at the 5 to 10 handicap range here for P760. What I expect to see here with P760 is much higher ball speeds in the 4 to 7 iron. As I understand it, you don't really use a 3 iron, so measuring 4 to 7 iron, utilising the hollow construction, utilising speed foam to really increase ball speeds. And then the beauty about 8, 9 and pitching wedge is we have a 1025 carbon forged construction, which will give you all of the benefits of a forged head, the appearance that you're looking for, the performance that you're looking for as well. What we'll get you to do is hit the standard product, and then we'll maybe look at some custom shafts and we'll relate the head in terms of performance versus your own. Starting with your eye blade, which you've got X100s in there. Before we really start to fit, we're just putting an X100 in. In terms of the weight, in the dynamic gold that we're using in P760, it's a little bit lighter than your traditional dynamic gold X100. You've already said that feels maybe a little bit heavy, so that's a good starting point. We know that your current spec is a little bit longer than standard, so a ½ inch longer. The actual 7 iron length in P760 is a ¼ inch longer than P790, for example. So although I'm giving you something that's a little bit longer than what you're currently using, it's just a starting point just to see how that performs, how it feels. Hopefully we'll see some obvious benefits from the technology in the head. I'm going to keep you ½ inch longer. I'm going to take the flex down to stiff, and it is a slightly different composition as well in terms of the shaft, i.e. it's not dynamic gold, all right? Don't worry too much what it is. Give it a little hit and let's see how it performs. Nice. Okay, Joel, so obviously one of the key elements of the fit is getting a shaft that works for you. I think you said that you hit your own product relatively well, but it felt a little bit heavy, if anything. Having assessed club speeds anywhere between 86.7 miles an hour when you were warming up to a top speed of 88 miles an hour. The X100 traditional dynamic gold, which is ½ inch longer, that is in your current product. I think it's a little bit lethargic, a little bit heavy. Maybe we can look at something that's a little bit softer, maybe a little bit lighter, faster, quicker, further, that type of theory. Now, the first thing we did was we flipped you into into a Modus 120. The basis for that was to get you into something a little bit lighter and a little bit softer. I wanted to see how that reacted. Now, we already knew that your bad shot was left. So the last thing we want here is anything that's going to promote that left ball. And it was quite apparent early on that the lighter, slightly softer construction of the shaft was not helping your ball flight. We were losing it left. What we've really finished on, and I think it was something which you not only felt the benefits of, but you saw the benefits of, and we've seen a little bit of improvement in terms of ball speed through Tadman, was Project X. Now, the reason we've ended up in Project X, we've got a reinforced tip design, a little bit stronger in the head end of the shaft, which is helping to work against that left ball. And that was apparent just through strike. We've stuck with a shaft that's ½ inch longer in terms of shaft length, which matches up to your current product. Now, the beauty about Project X is as it gets a little bit longer, it will play a little bit firmer. So we've left you in 6.0, which maybe we can code as stiff, but because it's ½ inch longer, it is actually playing a little bit firmer. It actually falls between the X100 that you have and maybe a standard length 6.0 Project X. And again, I think the feeling that you got from that, definitely in terms of control of ball flight, the benefits were apparent early on. Beauty about Project X as well, and a 6.0, a little bit lighter than your X100, so that ticked the box in terms of what you were looking for in feel and overall weight. By getting you into a shaft which I feel for various different factors is more applicable to your golf swing and performance in terms of ball flight, that is exactly what I would expect to see, a tightening of dispersion. You've got control of spin axis in your golf ball more successfully than you have in your own. I honestly think you're just trying to work a little bit too hard with your X100s to make them work. So in terms of dispersion, shaft has done a good job. In terms of ball speed, what we have seen here, yes, we have flipped the shaft round, but we've seen a jump in terms of ball speed from 114.1 in your own to 116.8 in my recommendation of P760. To quantify that, club speed in my product is only 0.8 mile an hour faster. So that has positively influenced smash. Smash factor is a 1.33 versus 1.31 with your own, so it is more efficient. I know it's not considered perfect at 1.35, but it's very difficult to achieve that when you're using range balls. But it's a fair test. Your club, my club, same balls. If you were coming here today and we had the choice between 790, 770, 760 and 730, we will probably be deciding, is it 770 or is it 760? But without question, because you want a 4-iron, because you want to work 4-iron down to pitching wedge, you as a 5 handicapper who will progressively get less consistent as the clubs get longer, the benefit that you will find in 760 being hollow in its construction, the benefits of that far outweigh 770.
Right, so that concludes my TaylorMade P760 iron fitting. I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you click the like button down there if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, comment on the video. What do you think of the new TaylorMade P760s? Are they going to be worthy of a place in your bag in 2018 and beyond? I was really impressed with the performance that these irons gave me. Yes, the lofts are slightly stronger than what I currently play, which is one of the reasons why I got more distance with these irons compared to my Ping eye blades. But what's nice is that TaylorMade are going to actually build these irons 1 degree weaker for me, which should bring the distances more in line with what I'm currently experiencing, although I do still expect these irons to go further than what I currently play, especially considering the hollow heads in the long irons. It was interesting, I actually did a test with the 4-iron of the P760 up against my Ping eye blade, and I hit some shots with my Ping and then I hit some with the TaylorMade, and because it wasn't the right length of shaft for me, I hit them low on the face, so quite thin, and they were still getting more ball speed and more carry distance than what I was experiencing with the Ping. So that's really interesting to note. I think the long irons are certainly going to go further. And when you think about how often you misstrike the middle of your long irons, that's a very appealing feature for me. The look of this iron is kind of everything you'd want from a player's club, especially the length. It's quite short from heel to toe, but there's still a nice thin top line, a minimal offset. Obviously the set's progressive. This is the 4-iron here, and the top line There's a little bit of meat behind it, but not loads. It's still nice and compact, and it's definitely a set in terms of looks that I would play. And given how consistent the performance was, especially with the shaft that I was fitted into, that Project X really did help minimise my miss. It helped me commit to my shots without the fear of it going left, so that was really interesting. It's also a little bit lighter than what I currently play. It was kind of what I feel like my current set is a bit cumbersome, so this just feels a little bit livelier through the hit, as does the face. These faces do feel a lot faster than what I currently play, but I wouldn't say they feel any less soft than my Ping eye blades. So a lot to like about these new TaylorMade P760 irons. As always, we're going to be doing much more comparison testing and review videos on these clubs to see how they compare with other brands' compact irons, so make sure you check out those on the Golf Monthly website. They come in at £1,299 for a set of 7, which is a lot of money. It's £200 more than the P790, so certainly a considerable investment, but I would say that the performance seems to deliver some value there. One other thing to note is that the stock shaft length with these P760 irons is 1/4 of an inch longer than the P790. So if you do a like-for-like test in the stock offering, you might find that you get maybe a slight loss of control of accuracy. You might find you get a bit more club head speed in like-for-like irons, just because the stock shaft length is slightly different. But if you get fitted, of course, you can adjust the length to what is right for you. Hopefully you enjoyed the video of the fitting process, but for now, it's goodbye.